Hello everyone and welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We are here on the second week of July, the admittedly a little bit out of the blue, a little bit randomly here bash at the beach. But first, we gotta start off with our Dark. Of course, the Young Bucks, they do their intro, then the Dark Order do their shenanigans. I'm imagining this is kind of just them still talking about them trashing up MJF's lounge. Just being general nuisances and basically a college frat. After this, a number of girls are seen backstage complaining about Garza's womanizing when Peter Avalon steps up to them. He says, "Hello, ladies. I can't help but overhear that you're dissatisfied with your current crop of men. Luckily, you have the prettiest man in the entire world here. Pretty Peter Avalon. So, ladies, how's about we go out sometime?" And Avalon offers a hand, and the girls look very disgusted by this, and they walk away. Avalon calls out to them, and he just says that, "Oh yeah, no, you guys are just getting ready for me. Don't worry, I understand. I'll be waiting for the date." So Avalon just being kind of a weirdo. After this, Nyla Rose defeats a debuting Ryo Mizunami. Mizunami, of course, very impressive in real life, so I decided to bring her in. She is just someone who is here, pretty much. The Hit Squad then defeat the Von Erichs. Abaddon defeats Danny Jordan. El Hijo del Vikingo defeats Joey Janela. And we are not going to do that. And then the Dark Order's music plays. And Uno, Grayson, Silver, and Reynolds all walk out onto the stage. And Uno is the one mainly talking here. He says, "So good to see both of you booked on Dark. Vikingo, you're the future stud of the company, and we want you for the Dark Order. We'll give you anything you want for the Young Wrestler of the Year so far. As for you, Joey, we've seen how bad your form has been recently, but don't worry, we're still looking into people who actually matter a bit, and you've been in this company for quite a while now, and you haven't really done much. So, how's about it? Will either of you join?" Vikingo and Janela look at each other for a moment, but they ultimately decline. Both of them, they look a little bit hesitant to decline. They almost seem like they don't really want to, but they're just kind of still doing it out of moral obligation. Uno looks a little bit disappointed, but he says that, hey, you know what, our recruitment pitch isn't quite over yet. So yeah. After this, Ashley Flair defeats Janice White. Darby Allin defeats Ricky Starks in a Dynamite quality match. Riho defeats Thunder Rosa. And then Ortiz picks up a shock win over Cody Rhodes. That doesn't really matter because it's on Dark. Let's move in to Bash at the Beach. Moving on to our Bash at the Beach Dynamite here on the second week of July. We start off with the TNT title match as Garza Jr. gets the upset win over Pac, the El Muertito. Orange Cassidy ended up distracting Pac during this. I will explain in the next segment. This was a high spots match. Pac off his game. Bit of a shame. Orange Cassidy was at ringside for the match, and between attacks on Garza, Pac would go over and he would begin to taunt Cassidy. However, eventually that leaves him unfocused enough that Garza Jr. gets a good enough hot run to hit his finisher, the El Muertito, onto Pac and steal a win. Kip Sabian, the only member of the Rose Garden who is not suspended for this week, quickly helps Garza up and helps him out. As Brutality Inc. rush to the ring, Pac orders his crew to go after Orange Cassidy, who is flanked by the Best Friends. A huge brawl begins to ensue, with security eventually grabbing them, all of the Best Friends and Brutality Inc. except for Pac, who is nowhere to be seen. After this, we just get a quick vignette between Kana and Shotzi. A little bit is just recapping the feud. Shotzi, number one contender. You had Kana really just pretty much dismissing Shotzi on the waiting room. We have, Shotzi's attack on Kana 2 weeks ago, and, Shotzi's responses. So just reminding people of the feud and what's going on there. Honestly, I was at a weird point where I didn't have enough time to put in the Devitt versus Omega match, but I had too much time to really know what to do with. So we do have a few of these vignettes. And to the surprise of no one, Kana defeats Shotzi with the Billiken. Defense number 3, Kana with an 89, Shotzi with a 50. 50, pretty good for Shotzi. After this, Ashley Flair comes to the ring very shortly after the match is finished, and she is flanked by the Queen's Court. Over to a bit of surprise, she actually steps aside for Lady Bernice to step in front, as the challenge shows that Bernice is the new #1 contender. Don't worry about Lance Archer being there, that's supposed to be Lady Lydia. Kana doesn't look phased at all, but Flair insists that one way or another, the Queen and her court will overthrow the Empress. And Lance Archer, apparently, shows up twice. We then cut to Paul Heyman's office, where Pac is already yelling at Heyman and demanding that he call off the title change and revoke the suspensions of Brutality Inc. Because even though the suspensions haven't been handed out, he already knows that Heyman is going to. Heyman refuses, which gets Pac to grab at his collar and demand one more time. Heyman still declines and even says that he'll suspend Pac. So Pac hits Heyman with a move. I don't know what kind of move would be safe for Heyman to take, and that is also in Pac's moveset. So that knocks Heyman down. And then arena security arrive. Pac easily beats all of them up before storming out of the arena on his own. Very angry, both in kayfabe and behind the scenes. He was unhappy at the booking of the match with Garza. Garza, of course, only recognizable at this point. Pac was a major star. So pretty much no matter what I did, he would have been very, extremely unhappy at the booking, but I'll take the hit. I can give him some bonuses. He's already happy right now, and it's only one match, so Pac will be fine. It's just handed the belt off to Garza. Mainly so I can get Pac into the world title scene. I'm going to be honest about that. I believe I've mentioned it. I don't quite recall if I actually mentioned the rankings, but Pac, heading, from the start of, from right after Double or Nothing, Pac was number 5 on the world title rankings list, despite being the TNT champion. Now he's just being more focused into the TNT title picture because I think he can have a really good run with it. I mean, he has some of our highest scores ever. Actually, I think he has the highest scores out of anyone, so not putting him in the world title picture is just kind of a little bit of a waste of those really high scores. Plus, you know, then we can have Pac versus Devin, Pac versus Omega, Pac versus Ibushi. A lot of fun matches going on, so this is, while he does get the pretty big, he will get a very big pop loss, I'm sure, from losing to Garza, because Garza was about 25 pop points behind him, I think. I think Garza was like mid-40s, Pac was about, he had 70 in the Southeast, but that was it. So, while Pac is definitely going to lose some pop on this, his performances are going to get a little bit worse for a little bit. This is so that he can get into the world title picture, which is going to be huge for him. After this, the Vision defeat the Private Party when Lance Archer pins Isaiah Cassidy after the Powerbomb Meteora combo. The Vision win the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Vision, probably the most successful original thing here. Of course, they just kind of got really lucky with the excellent chemistry. Private Party, the shortest reign so far, at just over a month. They had won their titles at Double or Nothing. They had one successful defense, which was 2 weeks ago? Last week or 2 weeks ago, against, 2 weeks ago, yeah. Against the Motor City Machine Guns. But they were defeated by just the imposing force that is the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, as well as the, whatever I have his name, Third Eye Visionary, Matt Sydal. Matt Sydal is actually a little bit shocked that he and Archer won, and he quickly goes to hug Archer. Because, you know, they're a bit, it's more of just kind of playing into the fact that, you know, hey, this is a short, they, not FTR, Private Party had a very, very short run. And Archer almost looks like he's going to reciprocate the hug when he's handed the belts by the referee. He hands one to Sydal, and the two of them begin to celebrate, but when they turn around, they're met by super kicks by the Young Bucks, who have also super kicked the Private Party and the Godfather. They each hold up the titles, each hold up a title themselves. They start yelling at the Vision. They don't even deserve a shot at these belts because they're, you know, they're two singles guys thrown into a tag team, and they take the belts for themselves. So, while the Vision are your champions, they do not have the physical belts. The Young Bucks have taken the physical belts, and they are very mad about this. After this, we get probably the larger vignette, the one that's explaining the feud between Kingston, Miro, and Moxley. So, you know, Miro powerbombing Renee, Kingston's relationship with Moxley, Kingston trying to mend things up with Moxley by basically offering Miro as a sacrifice. You know, Miro is being, you know, he's not necessarily a super redeemable guy, but he's still trying to work up there, trying to be this force for good. And Miro picks up the win over Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley when he actually pins Moxley with the Bullplex. Miro definitely struggled because of those broken ribs, but I wanted him to win, so as long as he wasn't being removed from the match, I was still going to have him win. Yes, it hurt the match rating, but I mean, it's still an 81 rating. Also, haven't mentioned this, we are in Los Angeles for this. You know, decided to go somewhere nice, warm, and sunny for Bash at the Beach. Potentially do this in an outside arena. I don't know. Maybe just because I'm a baseball fan, I'm thinking that they're at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or their stadium, which is just, I think it's just Angel Stadium, or something like that. Maybe do an outside mini pay-per-view. But yeah, Miro picks up the win. After this, Miro hobbles backstage to his music. Of course, he is hobbling because he has the broken ribs. The camera remains on Kingston and Moxley, who are still in the ring. Kingston slowly makes his way over to Moxley and offers a hand. He helps Moxley up. Mox accepts the hand, the two of them head back. Kingston supporting Moxley the whole way. Eddie Kingston's a face now. I really like the pairing of them in real life. So, we're trying this here. What does this mean for Kingston's stable? All of them will be going their separate ways. I will figure out things with all of them in due time. You're already seeing a little bit of what the Lucha Bros are starting off with, at least. Butcher and Blade are probably going to get some time off because the Butcher is off on tour very soon. And then Jacob Fatu, we will see what goes on with him. After this, we see Fergal Devitt in a pre-recorded segment. He just says, "Anytime I'm ready." Oh, that's a very enticing offer. Well, since Kota will start his work towards the world title starting next week, how's about it? How's about then? You still have Paige, you still have Cody. They'll come to your beck and call whether you want them to or not, but you and Kota are the biggest threats. I know that much. So next week's Dynamite Omega, you and me for the first time in the ring in AEW. The biggest non-title main event this company has ever seen, and your biggest loss on free television. So yeah, I'm expecting that to be an amazing rating. I'm gonna set that to. I'm actually going to try to make that our best match so far ever. Yes, it's, you know, not fantastic. It's, you know, it's a huge match to give away for free. But we're going to. Obviously, just the first in the series. We're going to have these guys face off on pay-per-view. And in our main event, MJF defeats Brodie Lee in just over 20 minutes with a Swanton Bomb. MJF makes defense number 3 of his world title. Following match, a busted-up MJF is sitting in the ring. The Dark Order rush out, and they're ready to deal with MJF, and they're intercepted by the VIPs Club. However, the Dark Order's numbers mean that they can get enough people to get around the VIPs, with Ten and John Silver about to deliver a few punches to MJF. They are interrupted by the arrival of the North, who knock Ten and Silver down. They help MJF just as the rest of the Dark Order is beaten down. The entirety of the VIPs Club, now with the North, stand in the ring, MJF having his foot squarely on Brodie Lee's chest. Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, the North, we have brought them both in. Losses due, and that's honestly fine. Both of them have been brought in as employees to the VIPs Club. It makes sense for MJF to look to hire more people. Page looking for like-minded, you know, some people who are also pretty arrogant. MJF, he knows they're talented and they're a little bit underutilized. So, you know, bring them in. They're new hires. They're new muscle for him. I'm almost certain that is our best show of all time, which is to be expected. It is basically a free pay-per-view, 79 rating. It's astounding. So, yeah, next week we'll be seeing the main event between Devitt and Omega, because obviously that's going to be the main event. And we'll see how things go from here. So, yeah, until that next week.